Hi everyone, welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. I'm your host, delonewolf, and it's pretty interesting time in EVE Online. The summer is finally ending. We're having patch Odyssey 1.1 next week. The first information of the winter expansion is starting to trickle in. The CSM is actually at CCP headquarters this weekend, so maybe we'll get some information from that. And Arvalis is coming back normally next month. Someone else might be coming back as well, and we have possibly two other candidates to give it a go next month. So we might just be with 6 people. Obviously, if that happens, if new people that we know in real life come into the game and join us, that will definitely be our focus, just to try and help them find their way in EVE Online, because EVE is not for everyone. But yeah, it's really a good time if you're thinking of starting EVE Online or restarting EVE Online. I'd say this is a good time because the information for the winter expansion is going to start coming in, and I'm very curious to see what they'll bring. Normally the winter expansions are the bigger ones, and so we don't know anything just yet apart from the rebalancing of the Marauders. So yeah, it's all up in the air, and I'm really excited to know what the winter expansion is going to be all about. Anyways, we are here for the market. So let's start off with the minerals, which over the last weeks, maybe even 2-3 months, have been on a serious downtrend. Let's have a look and see if maybe this downtrend is finally stopping. Price for Tritanium 484, 485, so that's still pretty much the same, I think. Yeah, that's still well, it's trying to flatten out just above 480 right here, although 5-day moving average still below that, and on the 1-year chart I think the downtrend is pretty clear. It's in fact since the beginning of the year that Tritanium has been on a downtrend in general. So that's not too good, it's still looking like it hasn't stopped just yet. I was hoping with the end of the summer that maybe this might end, but no, still trending down pretty seriously. Pyrite, it's not as visible because of that data point, but again you can clearly see from March on that we're in a general downtrend. Current prices in JITA, someone told me to select station instead of, let's see if that works. No, actually that doesn't work because it will still, that's just for your filter. And here, nope, someone said that you could somehow only have the goods available in the station visible here on the seller's part, but it's definitely not this range filter right here. So let me see if there's anything else here. Nope, that's just previous. So let's move back to Pyrite and let's have a quick look at the current prices. 1158, 1160, pretty close to what it was last week, but it broke 12 ISK, so not looking too good there either. Next up, Mixalon, current price in station 3786. Remember when Mixalon was 64 ISK? I do. That's like a year ago. Here you can see that it held on for quite a while, and then in January, look at that downtrend. But it might just seem that Mixalon has found its bottom here, because that's finally trending back up or sideways. So yeah, Mixalon is finally looking like it might stop going down. But yeah, the damage has been done. 3786 for Mixalon, which a year ago was 64 ISK. That's almost half of the price. So that's very, very low historically. In fact, if you're mining now, if you're a miner, I'd say stock up. Don't sell it directly to the market. Be patient. I'm pretty sure that 6 months from now you'll be able to get a much better price than this. Let's have a look at the other one, Isogen. Well, double top here, but definitely the downtrend is here as well. Still not on lows for the year, but it's definitely pretty low, hanging around 120. Current price is 125, something like that. After that, that's in Noxium, also here the downtrend. This is actually all timed after Odyssey. Megasite here you can see it's very similar, you know, a small top here with Odyssey, and then look at that downtrend coming from 2500 ISK down to 1800 for Megasite. That's a serious drop, so that's pretty significant. And then Zydrine, well, bad data point right here, but again you can see the trend here, upward spike here, previous expansion spike here in May, and then here the downtrend again after that. Current prices for Zydrine 642 ISK, where we've seen prices of 1000 ISK with Odyssey. So yeah, definitely also 40% decline. Not the best time to be a miner, but yeah, I would say if you do mine, stock up or stock a part of your mining, maybe 50% of it. Keep that aside for selling it later, because I do think we're looking at very low prices, and it will come back at some point. Quick look then at the impact on Tech 1 chips, you know, which is very heavily correlated. Here you can see the Drake. Look at that decline after Odyssey as well. Try to work its way back up, probably due to the war, you know, when they might still have been used a little bit in some fleets there. But now the decline, I mean, we're at the lowest point for the year, below 46 million. In fact, price in station 44.7 million for a Drake. Historically, that's very low. Quick look at the Maelstrom here, same chart, you know, uptrend with the winter expansion of last year, trying to hold on, bit of an upswing with Odyssey, and here is the downtrend, similar to all of the minerals as well. And once again at an all-time low, or at the 1 year low at the moment for Maelstroms, below 190, current prices 179, even below 180. So that's really not too good for the Maelstrom, or for Tech 1 producers, or for miners at the moment. It is pretty good for people that want to stock up on ships, or want to risk them out in PvP, stuff like that, because that definitely got a lot cheaper. After that, let's have a quick look at the command ship market. Battle cruisers, although we probably already know a lot of this from previously, and I hope that all that sound in the background is not coming through too much. Here is the Absolution, well, pretty much back where it was 1 year ago. That's pretty funny, 200 million. It even dropped towards 180, then a spike at 260 here, another spike here at 260, 240 for the 20-day moving average, and then right back down towards where it was. So a lot of speculation, you know, as you can see right here, a lot of money invested, decent spikes. This is why I like the command chips for active trading on a medium term. This spike is really beautiful, you know. If you bought some at 220 before, they're 240, 260 right there. So there are definitely selling opportunities and buying opportunities for the Absolution over the last year, and we're right back where we started. So I would consider this maybe a buying opportunity for some Absolutions if you have the ISK and you can wait for a few months to get a profit out of it. Let's have a look at the Damnation here. That one ended up for the year, so from 200 million to 250, and here again a spike, which is speculation on the changes with Odyssey, but it doesn't seem like they had that big of an impact, although 50 million increase, you know, from last year is not insignificant either. So that's the Damnation, you know, not as much speculation, couple spikes, yeah, here maybe 20 million, 50 million, another 20, another 30, 40 maybe even. So it's of course the big spike right here, the big opportunity was the announced changes. And this is then the Nighthawk, ending up even down for the year, starting at 220, currently below 200. Couple spikes visible here, again this Odyssey spike with the announced changes to the command ships right there. Then it recovered, and it's back on this wavy motion, which does mean, you know, that's 20 million in between these high and low points, 20 to 40 million. That does mean that it's pretty good for trading still. Vulture, that one's up quite a bit actually. It's managed to stay there, so people are pretty happy with the changes to the Vulture. Definitely increased in popularity. By now that has died down quite a bit though, because all of these command chips are going down a little bit at the tail end right there, down again, and then the Damnation's holding on. So yeah, people are definitely happy with the Vulture coming from 240 something like that, and now looking at 280, 290, 260 actually. So that's the chart. Yeah, there you go. Actually at the tail end right there. So it's a big selling opportunity right there after the announced changes, and right now the market is finding its new price point for the Vulture, but it's definitely up from what it was before. So people expect more demand for the Vultures. Next up, Astarte. Up a little bit on the 1 year chart. This is a good one again for trading. Look at this spike here. Nice spike here, nice 30 million here, 30 million spike here, here again. Smaller spikes on the downtrend, huge spike here again, and then now it's going right back up. So this is really an awesome chart for active trading. If you can hold on for a few months, and you can pick them up at the right times. Right here, 200 million, that does seem to be something that it tests from time to time. If you can pick them up for that price, look at that, easy 10, 20, 30 million ISK profits just by keeping an eye on this market. So really nice, although the Astarte overall with the changes hasn't moved that much, maybe 10 million up. So I'd say that's actually not that significant. Astarte changes, not all that popular. I'd say at the moment the best one is definitely the Vulture, that's gone up significantly in price. But now here comes the EOS, and yeah, that's obviously the one that's known the biggest jump of all the command ships. Look at that, starting off at maybe 210, 215, something like that. Some decent spikes here, here 20, 30 million, 20 million again, 40 million, something like that here again. And then of course with the announced changes, 5 heavy drones for the EOS next week. That's really awesome, and demand has increased for that, is expected to stay very high. Current price point for an EOS 290, something like that, 294 million ISK compared to 210 at the beginning. If you were an EOS producer or if you had stuck up on them, yeah, awesome deal there. I mean, we're talking 80 million profit for every EOS. That's not insignificant at all, and it's looking like it's going to manage to keep this price just because it becomes quite a unique ship, being the only battle cruiser that can field 5 heavy drones. Really awesome stuff. Next up, the Claymore. As you can see, this one is quite flat compared to the other ones, or some of the other ones, and even down for the year. So that's definitely against the trend for all the command ships. I guess the Claymore changes were either almost non-existent. Don't think the Claymore changed that much, or just not very popular. But we're looking at 230 and current price around 220, something like that. No, even less, 210, 220, yeah, 210, 220, something like that. So not that much movement in the Claymore, probably not one of the ships I'd be looking at for speculation or trading, and apparently not increased in popularity. Next up, the Sleipnir, pretty much the same. Strange, the Minmatar seem to be getting the shaft with the changes to the command ships. In fact, coming from 300 million down to 250, definitely down in popularity. Some spikes here, but definitely less than on something like the Astarte, which is really awesome to see for traders. But yeah, definitely against the grain, Minmatar command ships down for the year. Pretty interesting. So yeah, keep in mind all these changes should be coming live next week as well. So we might just see some speculative movements right there in the command ships, and maybe also in the hacks. Let's have a quick look at the advanced cruisers, heavy assault cruisers. As you can see here, these have also known these spikes due to the changes announced in Odyssey 1.1. Man, look at the Zealot take a beating, coming from 180 to 130 on the 1 year chart. Cerberus, that one's looking pretty good, up definitely, and nice spikes here as well. Eagle, look at that, up, and definitely managed to, look at that, 90 million at the beginning, now looking at 140 million for the Eagle. The Demos, well, up a little bit, but it's known some bad times. Ishtar, I'm amazed at how much that's corrected already, actually. Started off at 160, looking at high prices of 200, 210 million, but now it's back down quite a lot, 171. That's a decent price for an Ishtar, which will become an even better drone boat than it is already. And again, Munin, not a lot of movement there, in fact a little bit down for the year. And then the Vagabond, also down for the year. Look at that, a spike, it managed to keep some of this increase, but definitely the Minmatar ships not doing too well. with all the changes coming in Odyssey 1.1, if we go by the market. Really interesting stuff. Next up, the Tech Tree. I always like to take a look at melted nanoribbons, which are continuing their descent towards 5 million. Pretty good, you know, if you look at these spikes right there, starting at 6.4, again 6.4 here, 5.8, and then downs here below 5 million, you know, and we're close to that here, 5.1 million for melted nanoribbons. It's pretty weird that it breaks off again here at 6.4, 6 million and 6.4, and it's not like melted nanoribbons have been in the news or anything like that. So I have two possible explanations. Number one, it's active wars in wormhole space that people don't hear so much about, but if one of the major producers takes a beating, then yeah, this could have an influence on the market. And now if their production is coming back online, they're bringing more and more and more back there, the prices start to decrease. The other possibility is that it's straight up manipulation, that someone is saying, well, let's bring the price back down to 5 million, bring a lot to the market, or no, yeah, and after that, once they've bought up a lot at 5 billion and been hoarding it, yeah, they decide, all right, it's time to stop with a big enough group, you know, they can definitely manipulate the price right back up to 6 or 6.4 million, where they say, all right, time to dump the stocks, and then you see this downward movement again, because it's a little bit too regular and they're pretty big movements for something that comes out of wormhole space. I would not be surprised if there's actually a group of traders that are behind these movements. But yeah, that's just, you keep an eye on that as well and try to ride the waves. You know, if you could pick them up now, current buy prices are below 5 million. You know, I would not be surprised if that's, you know, asking for 2,000 melted nanoribbons just below 5 million. You know, those are great investments, and why not, you know, try to pick some up as well for yourself, and then try and sell them for like 6 million. That's pretty decent. Unfortunately for the ships, of course, really looking pretty bad. Look at that, this is Loki chart, lowest point probably ever for these ships. Let's take a look at the Tango right there, also towards 170, really bad. Just people don't really know what to make of the Tech Tree ships at the moment, I think. Can't really be used for high-tech exploration anymore. They're great ships, you know, but for most of the other stuff there are better or equally good alternatives. And so at the moment demand is definitely pretty low, I think, for Tech Tree ships, just because they don't know what's going to happen once the rebalancing hits. If we had some ideas, you know, if they say that Tech Trees will be used for that role more specifically, maybe we'd see this market swing back up. But at the moment, I would say, as long as CCP doesn't announce anything for the Tech Tree market, it's looking really bad. And yeah, we're looking at lows ever, really, at extremely low prices for Tech Tree ships. So if you're looking to invest in it and you want to take that risk, this is the time to buy, of course. But you never know, of course, if CCP decides that, well, Tech Trees deserve more nerfs, then that might be a bad investment. It's really hard to tell at the moment. Here, Galente fuel blocks, people have been asking me why I ice mine whenever I do the more informational videos. That's because I am producing Galente fuel blocks. They've been holding in the 13,000, 14,000 price band for quite a bit. Here is an uptick with Odyssey. This is mostly speculation because of the ice mining changes, where people expected fuel blocks to become a lot more expensive because they would no longer be able to supply enough for the entire market. Turns out that that's not the case, but here finally we're starting to see some slow upward movements here in POS fuels. Could just be that there's more demand with more people coming back. Could also be that there's more demand because 0-0 alliances are not at war at the moment, so they can spend more on infrastructure, put up more POSes, needing more fuel. And could maybe be a little bit of speculation that we might see POS changes in the winter expansion, and I definitely hope so, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to make a good amount of Galente fuel blocks at the moment, because I am expecting that to happen, that we might see some POS changes with the winter expansion, and that would mean, of course, greatly increased prices for Gallente fuel blocks normally. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm actively producing and hoarding at the moment. So I'm not bringing any of it to the market for now. That's that. Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good feeling of the market in general. As always, if you have any goods you want me to check, feel free to post them in the comments. I'll try to cover those then next week. But I'll end up with the Plex. Someone asked me to start off with the Plex. I prefer not to do that. I understand that some people are just really interested in the Plex market and would rather not see the entire episode just to get to the Plex. And it's true that Plex is the best barometer for the ETH market in general. And here we go, let's have a quick look here. Still holding on. There are some speculation attempts, I feel, because if you look right there at this 5-day moving average, moving up and down, and it's trying to get to 550 million. Pretty interesting. Of course, the 1-year chart is where it's at. We're right. In a few weeks, we should start to see the beginning of this rise. Keep in mind, this always lags a little bit, so it's possible that we will only actively see this on the chart at October, something like that. But yeah, let's hope that CCP comes out with more and more great stuff for the winter expansion, and that we'll be able to see the value of our plexus increase, breaking 600 million. That would be really awesome. Current prices in station 550. There you go, 550 are the cheapest ones, 538 for buy orders. What is that? 12 million ISK margin. That's actually a little bit lower than normally. I think normally it's 12 to 13 million. So I do think that means that there's some upward pressure here. Normally sell orders would have to go to 551, 552, something like that in order to get back to that normal margin. So I think people are pushing up the buy orders, and that this will also slowly push up the sell orders. And yeah, it's normal, it's time for Plex to start to take off once CCP announces more and more of the winter expansion. So hopefully that happens, because I have invested a good amount of ISK in Plexus, and overall, it's held on pretty well. 540 has been held on pretty good by Plex. So for the overall summer activity, decent. You can clearly see it's below what it was right after the winter expansion, and then the economy does slow down towards the summer, and then with the summer expansion there's always this small spike right there. But after that it drops back down, but it held on pretty well at the end of the summer right here. A little bit surprising, normally you might expect this to stay, let's say, below the 540 mark for a lot of the time, but that didn't happen. Maybe because of the wars. Maybe the wars brought back a lot of interest and activity in the game. So we are starting close to a 550 million price point for this next increase. So if we extrapolate this back, we could see highs of 630, 640 in the upcoming months. So yeah, this is a time to keep a close eye on the Plex market, to be honest. And I hope you've bought them. And of course I hope that we will actually see this spike, but normally we will. Anyways, that's it for this ETH talk, guys. I'll see you all next time.